Would seem like such a simple thing, really. Company owns and peddles rental cars. Recall announcement comes in from car maker. Rental car company sends car back, gets it fixed, put the key in it, hit the gas. You know by now that if we're talking about it in this manner, it is not that simple, maybe even nefarious. Time for a few moments of economic bread and circuses, if you will. Welcome back the veteran economist and professor of business at the University of Maryland, Peter Morici, joined by the nationally syndicated car coach whose motto is either never pay retail or Ford's rock, the car coach, Lauren Fix. Pleasure to have you both on the show.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to work. Lauren, I'm going to throw this to you first here. The Senate and the House considering bills to force rental companies to repair recalled cars. Wait a minute, this shocked even me thinking this, because they're out there letting cars that need to be recalled, they're letting people use them, and some people have been killed. How is this allowed to slide?
Well, I've actually been in an accident in a rental car where the check engine light was on and the ABS light was on, and their answer is, well, we can't help you. We've already checked it. We don't know why the light's on. There's always stories because the bottom line is, and I won't tell you who the rental car company was, the bottom line is it has to come to the almighty dollar. They're looking at their bottom line. They purchase that vehicle and expect to make a certain amount of money off of that. And if the profit margin isn't there, then they take a loss. Just like if you have an accident, where they always try to get you to buy that insurance, because that gap between what your insurance company picks up and what you have to pay is where they lose their money. So they're not about to get them fixed unless they're forced to, and it's a really sad situation because the fact is you're putting your family at risk.
Peter, this is just flat-out greed is all it is. And even as Lauren mentioned, they always try to push that insurance on you, and 99.9% of the time you don't need that either. But this is deadly.
Well, yeah, one of the problems we have is not all recalls are the same. You know, how many times have you had a recall where you go back to the dealer and they said they don't have a part, and you drive the car for a couple of months until they have the part, and it's really not something that's life-threatening. The problem is they have a lot of trouble distinguishing between A and B. It doesn't cost them anything to get it fixed. What it costs them is the day to take the car back and the person that takes the car back. It's a nuisance factor. They should be able to bridge this gap. Though, if things go on as they are, people can take them to court and sue their pants off.
Let's talk about bridging a gap then when it comes down to the gasoline tax related to this as well. Look, we've all been under the misconception, some people say, Peter, that the taxes paid by drivers, the gas tax covers the cost of building and keeping up roads. Articles, books are out now saying that is just not the case. Every taxpayer pays for it, but still they're in such rotten shape. Do we really still need the gas tax and need to raise the gas tax, Peter?
We need the gas tax and we need to raise it. The primary method we have for building roads that are partnerships between the state and federal government is the gas tax. Unfortunately, we spend the tax very badly. Because of Davis-Bacon and similar laws, we have to have union employees, or we have to have contracts that use union rules. I mean, go past a construction site whenever it's a government project and see how many people you have standing around. It's very much like making cars before the bankruptcy.
All right, Lauren, now you travel those roads, you're constantly on them. And I mean, you and I have talked about this before with the infrastructure here. Do we keep revisiting this, but it always keeps coming back. There are people saying that if we don't raise this gas tax, we're in trouble.
Well, I do respect Peter's perspective, but as someone who works in this business every single day, all day long, I know what happens to the dollars from the gas taxes. And there's a couple factors that we need to consider. First off, we know it goes into a general fund, so therefore it's not being used for what it's supposed to be. And then he's correct on the unions. The fact is that they end up, pumping the price up, and then they have to do the job over again. So they do a 3/4 of the way job, knowing that the roadway won't hold up as long as it could. You go to anywhere in Europe and you'll see the roadways that hold up. Now, on the other side of this, our short-sighted government says we all want to go with cars that get 54.5 miles to the gallon. We want electric vehicles and hybrids. Okay, then that means I'm not at the pump filling up. So you're not taking in as much income, and the impact has been quite dramatic if you look at what the total fund has been reduced to. And so there's less money to give for those lovely inflated union jobs. So we need to make a decision. If we're going to raise the taxes and the money goes into the general fund, you're still not going to get your roads fixed. And if you want the fuel economy to be 54.5 miles to the gallon, well, yes, then there's going to be less money coming in from the gas taxes. And I just think there's other ways to do it. And part of it is they need to stop having free will with all of our money as a general fund so that they can fly on private jets, and they need to fix these roadways because we drive on them.
45 seconds left. On Tuesday, Grover Norquist said that Jeb Bush will reconsider withholding his name from the infamous anti-tax pledge. Peter, do you think he really will reconsider, and will it make a difference?
I don't really, it makes a difference whether the Republican presidential candidate takes the pledge or not. Let's look at the Republican Congress. They went along with reinstating the Bush tax cuts. They went along recently with the Medicare fix, which essentially taxed upper income Americans, but it did it through a fee to subsidize, all Americans' retirement health care. So my feeling is that Republicans are less inclined to raise taxes than the Democrats. Whether or not you get them to take a pledge really doesn't matter. And also, George H.W. Bush got fired in the end for making a deal with Rostenkowski to raise taxes.
We promised to sign a pledge to come back and do this all over again. Peter Morici, Lauren Fix, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe on those roadways. We'll talk to you both soon.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Speaking of nefarious, there is something out there who's more dangerous than the NSA could ever hope to be. It's next here on The Hard Line.